I now reconvene to the regular meeting of the Board of Education at 7 p.m. with Blair, Cruz, Gagne, Schaefer, and not present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. These proceedings are recorded and may capture images and sounds of these presented at the meeting. Pat?
The board met in closed session from 5:30 to 6:48 regarding conference with legal counsel existing and anticipated litigation, conference with legal counsel real property negotiators, student expulsions, public employee discipline dismissal release, and conference with labor negotiators ACT and CSCA. No action was taken that requires public disclosure.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Alexi.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We're now at Student Showcase. Let's give a warm welcome to the talented Cortez students.
Hello, welcome to our performance. We are the Cortez Advanced Band and we'll be playing Frenzy by David Schaefer.
Thank you very much for all the parents to being here this cold night, and we're truly blessed of you and your children. Thank you. We'll have a couple minutes so that you guys can go with your children. Thank you.
I was trying to.
Were you like this?
I didn't see.
I walked out. Unfortunately, I saw him.
I didn't see Mark.
I'm sorry if I did this stuff in your way here. No, okay. I just kind of want to go spread out.
Okay, next up is an LCAP update from Ms. Leo Fellows.
Good evening. This is the fourth Local Control and Accountability Plan Annual Update presentation to the Board of Education. And today's focus is on the English Learners Progress Indicator. Before we dive in, let's review the 3 district LCAP goals. Number 1, all students are provided a high-quality teaching and learning environment. Number 2, students, parents, families, and staff are connected and engaged to their school to ensure student success. And goal 3, all students are prepared for college and career beyond graduation. Our English learners are specifically measured through the English Learner Progress Indicator, a state metric to measure performance, and it is included in Priority 4, Student Achievement for English Learners. And now I would like to introduce Yvette Farley, Director of Access and Equity, who will provide an overview of our English learners, explain the changes to the state metric, review performance of our students, and share with you the actions and services that we have in place to support our English learners.
Thank you. Good evening. Bear with me. Let me know if you can hear me. My voice is a little off right now. I'd like to begin this evening with defining who our English learners are. Our English learners are students who have a first language other than English, are in the process of learning English, or need additional support to acquire language and learn grade level content. The home language survey is used to determine which students will be assessed for language proficiency. Chino Valley Unified School District currently has a total of 3,019 EL students, which equates to 10.7% of our total student population. The California English Learner Roadmap, along with the California Education for a Global Economy Initiative, are 2 documents provided by the California Department of Education. These 2 documents provide guidance for our district in programs, policies, and practices that will ensure English learner success. English learner language skills are needed so that our English learner students can develop their language skills to meet those high academic expectations that we hold for all students. And in utilizing those skills, our English learners can then contribute to a biliterate, multiliterate global state. There have been some key changes to our English Learner Progress Indicator. As you can see, in 2017, the data that was used to show English learner progress was the 15-16 reclassification criteria, the 2016-17 CELT results, and the 2016-17 long-term English learner data. 2017 English Learner Progress Indicator, our English learners scored green. For 2018 California dashboard, we have the 2017-18 English Language Proficiency Assessment for California, our LCAP results. That is the only thing indicated on the 2018 California dashboard, because we need 2 years of data, which is required to produce a performance level. As a reminder, the California School Dashboard provides parents and educators with meaningful information on school and district progress in order to make decisions to improve student learning so that all students can be successful in school, college, work, and life. Here, again, you see blue being our highest performance and red the lowest performance. The 2018 California dashboard will display these 2 icons, the English Learner Progress Indicator with no performance color, and then the results of our English language proficiency assessment results. In order to address the needs of our students who have scored at the beginning and somewhat developed stage, intensive and extended designated English language instruction is provided. During this time, students have more opportunities to engage with the material and increase language support in the areas of pronunciation, reading, and student use of complete sentences with academic vocabulary. Here we display how Chino Valley Unified School District scored compared to the county and the state. 75% of our English learners scored moderately developed or well-developed on the LCAP, in comparison to the county, which scored 66%, and the state that also scored at 66%. Reclassification is another component in our monitoring of our English learners. Based on our current LPAC scores, those students who scored a 4, well-developed, are considered for reclassification and no longer needing designated English language instruction. Designated English language instruction is a protected time during the school day in which our students are instructed on mastery of the ELD standards and developing language skills using our content curriculum. Once students are reclassified, they are academically monitored for 4 years. This is also a change in the state, which they were monitored for 2 years. Now it's been increased to 4. On this slide, we have the reclassification rate for the last 3 years. If you notice, in 15-16 school year, we had a reclassification rate at 13.8%. And then we had a huge increase in the 16-17 school year at 30%, and then in 17-18 school year, 20%. The reason for this is that in the 16-17 school year, with the implementation of a new state test, the SBAC, LEAs were given the opportunity to use local assessments as a reclassification criteria. Since the 2016-17 school year, the SBAC scores were a baseline score. And in examining this, you can see that when in 17-18, when they reintroduced the SBAC score as part of the reclassification criteria, our students scored at 20.8%. And you can compare that to the 15-16 school year, and the 17-18 year is when the state assessments were used for reclassification criteria. You will see an increase. So the 16-17 school year is the only school year in which local assessments were used to determine progress. In order to show continuous improvement in language acquisition for our English learners, the Department of Access and Equity continues to monitor the implementation of the ELD curriculum and the protected time for designated ELD instruction. Instructional coaches provide support to our ELD teachers through lesson planning and modeling effective strategies used to increase English learner proficiency. But strategies such as collaborative conversations, the use of thinking maps, word walls to assist in creating a print-rich environment. Our coordinator of Access and Equity monitors designated ELD schedules, identifies students for reclassification, and trains our site administrators on the administering of the LPAC assessment. Staff development and site support will continue with the focus on integrated English language development. Integrated ELD focuses on content, literacy, and language learning across disciplines. Capacity building will continue through support services to increase parent involvement and engagement through our Parent Engagement Center. As you can see, Chino Valley Unified School District is committed to ensuring the academic success of our English learners. Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
I do.
Mrs. Blair?
Is there a possibility that the data can be tabulated so that it breaks down the percentages based on the groups? Like originally, you had them split elementary, junior high, and high school, but then it doesn't say how many of those were the ones that were reclassified. Right, I'd like that information. Thank you.
Mr. Cruz?
You know, just to review, you notice that progress is going up, which is fabulous. And we are surpassing the county and the state, which is really remarkable. And knowing that this is our fourth local presentation that we have conducted, you notice that, President ACT, that our teachers, they are the heart of our school district, and the sacrifice and the love that they have committed, because it shows the results, what has happened within our school district. So it's pretty phenomenal that we're here at this point where it is very successful, and we're doing whatever it takes to help these kids, for the mere fact that I believe this generation is going to have a tough time compared to other generations. So I think as educators, we understand this, and we're going to do whatever it takes. So it's pretty nice to see this, so good job.
I have a comment. I also like to thank our teachers who has the patience of working with our children. And they would repeat and repeat and repeat until they are successful. So thank you, teachers. I had a comment from a parent, though, where she said there was such a program in school where students had access to use and really helped their children. However, she was wondering if she was able to access that program, same program that we offer in school, at her home. And I couldn't give a right answer. But in hindsight, I think that would be a good thing that we could look at, because many students need, especially English learners, repetition. And if they're access at home, and I think that's going to add to their economic achievement. So let's look at that. But I think we're doing a great job as a district. And I, again, thank the teachers who's got the patience. And it's not easy to work with English learners or special ed students. But we have a golden heart teachers really serve our kids. So thank you. We're now at comments from student rep Alexi.
Hello and good evening, Board, Cabinet, and community. On Tuesday, March 5th, the Superintendent Student Advisory Council met to discuss our current developments in our Kindness Initiative. We brainstormed, gave feedback, discussed our aspirations for our project, and planned to further discuss our goals for the next school year at a future meeting. I would like to recognize Viviana Jara, Justin Rendon, Maya Seekin, Ali Plata, Alex Rowe, Anissa Chavez, and Julia Johnston, who planned and acted in this month's video, recognizing when kindness is needed.
Oh, hey there. I'm Viviana Jara. I go Oh, hey there. I'm Viviana Hara. I go to Don Lugo High School, and I am the Secretary of the Superintendent Advisory Council. And in March, we will continue to see sparks by recognizing when kindness is needed. Oh, hey there. I'm Viviana Hara. I go to Don Lugo High School, and I am the Secretary of the Superintendent Advisory Council. And in March, we will continue to see sparks by recognizing when kindness is needed.
How will you show kindness when someone is alone? How will you show kindness when someone's being bullied? And how will you show kindness when someone's having a bad day?
Even though these are just a few scenarios, we need to remember to show extra kindness on a daily basis.
How will you show kindness?
Thank you. That was good. Thank you. We're now at comments from employee representatives. Brenda Walker, ACT President.
Good evening, President Na, board members, Superintendent Enfield, District Cabinet, and community. It's been some time since I last addressed the board, but I'm going to be brief tonight. We just want to congratulate the recently honored distinguished schools. The staff and students at Canyon Hills and Ayala have a lot to be proud of. We know that the district and the board recognize that educators have been working hard to incorporate new practices and procedures while maintaining high levels of quality teaching, counseling, as well as addressing the health concerns of our students. Without using too many acronyms tonight, we appreciate the district's direction and professional development commitment to programs such as PBIS and PLCs, Professional Learning Communities, where teachers get to work as collaboration teams to get to the heart of what works best for our students. Lastly, some ACT members attended a California Teachers Association sponsored event last night called the CODE Awards. CODE stands for Community Outreach Action Team. ACT selected Tony Flores as our CODE Awards recipient. Tony Flores, as you know, is a parent who volunteers at his children's school, Cattle Elementary. He sits on district committees and started the All Pro Dads chapter at Cattle. He's very deserving of a Community Service Award, and it was our pleasure to honor him. And we want to thank Carol Sweat for nominating Mr. Flores. And that's all I have tonight, and have a good evening.
Do we have Daniel Hernandez tonight? Seeing no. We'll see Yvette Foley from Champ.
Good evening again. I would like to remind our CHAMP members that a CHAMP scholarship is available for their graduating seniors, and the application is available via email request to me. The application is due on April 19th. Also, we have two administrators, Barbara Bearden, the assistant principal from Country Springs, and Emily Lau, the assistant principal from Butterfield, who will be representing Chino Valley Unified School District and CHAMP at the Legislative Action Day in Sacramento, April 7th and 8th. And previously, Tom Mackesy said on your behalf, we would be purchasing books to provide for a library book for each school site. So I wanted to let you know which books we have chosen on your behalf to give to each school. For elementary, and this is in support, of course, of the Kindness Initiative, we tried to choose books that we felt would support our district initiative. For elementaries, we have chosen You Hold Me Up, and it is by Monique, Grace Smith, and Danielle Daniel. This is a simple encouragement and practical advice for how children can show others that they care and change someone's life forever. Every elementary school will be receiving that book. For junior high, we have chosen Ugly, and this is a memoir by Robert Hodge. And this book is about an ordinary boy with an extraordinary face, tells a true story about banishing bullies and thriving with disabilities. And for the high school, we have chosen Tell Me Everything. Tell Me Everything is about Ivy, who loves doing random acts of kindness on Veil, the anonymous art sharing app. But when she tries to support her best friend, Earl, she outs a very personal secret in a public way. This book is good for discussing boundaries and digital mishaps. I would like also to share that CHAMP members, about 20 CHAMP members currently, are involved in a book study entitled Unselfie, Why Empathetic Kids Succeed in Our All About Me World. The reason why we have chosen that book is it is actually used in other districts as a parent outreach in helping parents with raising empathetic children. And it really is another way for us to learn how to teach empathy and create a caring school environment. So we're very proud that we have about 20 members right now who are involved in this book study. And in saying that, I'd like to end, as you all know, I always tend to end with some sort of quote that I felt was applicable with regards to creating that positive school environment. This one is by Oprah Winfrey, who says, "The most you can ever do for somebody is to show up and allow them to know that they have been seen and heard by you." So I would really like to thank the hard work that our administrators are doing with PBIS. And so they have made that commitment to show up for our students of Chino Valley Unified School District. And I failed to also recognize, and I'm sorry, Gerson Renderos, who has been recognized by San Bernardino County for a multilingual award in his work and efforts that he does with English learners. And also Julie Fromdale, assistant principal at Townsend Junior High, who has been recognized by SELPA for her work in with special education. So thank you very much, and continue to support our students. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. We're now at community liaisons. I think we have Mr. Wynn Williams from Chino Valley Fire District.
Thank you very much, Mr. Na, for the acknowledgement. I really have no report tonight. Things seem to be going good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. How about Suzette Dang?
Good evening, President Na, board members, Dr. Enfield, and staff and audience members. Suzette Deng with Supervisor Kurt Hagman's office. I do have an update on our Prado Park Master Plan. Our first of two community workshop on Wednesday, January 30th at the Chino Hills Community Center kicked off with over 200 participants, which is phenomenal. So we thank you and the community for your support. You have two additional options to provide your input. The next date of the workshop will be Saturday, April 6th, 2019, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. over at Chaffey College Chino Community Center, 5890 College Park Avenue in Chino, California. You also have another option by going on our website and click on the link where you can actually do it online, an online survey, which will also help us hear your ideas and thoughts. And this workshop is geared towards all the community members. So we do invite all the families and their children. It is family-friendly event, so please bring your whole family, and we would love to hear from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now at comments from audience on items not on the agenda. Pat, are there any requests to speak on non-agenda items? Speakers will be called in order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberations on an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board is very interested in your comments, but please bear in mind that board typically does not respond to comments during this time on the agenda, as it is reserved for public comments. Individual members may respond during board comments at the end. Additionally, the board does its best to support the public's right to address its elected officials. It is also important that the board conduct its business in an orderly and fair fashion, as provided in Board Bylaw 9323. In the event that an unusual amount of speaker cards is submitted for any time, the board will hear up to 30 minutes of comments. In the case of non-agenda items, the board can, if it chooses, hear the remainder of comments after all business has been conducted. Mr. Cruz, will you please explain the light?
Speakers, you have 3 minutes. Begin when you see the green light. The yellow light means you have 30 seconds left. Red means stop. Adjust the microphone as necessary. Please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium.
Speakers, please remember that in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, bylaws of the board meeting conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes total for all remarks. Please limit remarks to new points. The board would like to remind you that Board Policy 1312.1 contains the procedure for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee. Please follow that procedure. The first speaker is Lisa Fraga, followed by Deanna Dozie, followed by Seg and Gula.
Good evening. My name is Lisa Fraga, and I'm a preserved resident of over 10 years. I'm a contributing member of our school and community. I'm here to express my concerns over the proposed boundary changes presented to this board on February 21st by Greg Stratura. During that meeting, Ms. Gagne asked him to be as specific as possible in regards to the proposed changes and who would be affected by them. He replied, those residents south of Pine who enroll after July 1st. I'm here to show you why that is only partially true. On February 26th at Cal Aero, Mr. Statura stated these changes are necessary because Cal Aero is near capacity. We, as of today, have 1,392 students enrolled with a capacity of 1,400. That leaves 8 spots. Well, let me share this map of homes that are currently constructed or have been approved for construction by the Planning Commission that are within the boundaries. Please focus on the numbers in bright green. As you can see, we will have an influx of families ready to enroll at Cal Aero. At that same meeting, district employee Beverly Beamer stated there was only a 3% chance we would overflow within those boundaries. As you can see, that number should be closer to 100%. Which leads me to my next concern, the need for Preserve 2 to be put at the top of the agenda by this board. In 2015, former Superintendent Mr. Joseph came out and spoke with our community regarding Measure G and the need for us to pass the measure because despite declining district enrollment, growth in the preserve had accelerated to the point that a second school is necessary. This second school is included in the facilities master plan adopted by the school board at its June 30th, 2016 meeting. Now, at the community meeting held February 26th of this year, we are told the state has no matching funds, the land isn't ready, and other projects have taken priority. According to the last Measure G committee update, of the $207 million received May of 2017, 0 has been spent on Preserve 2. We are done being put last. You gladly take our tax dollars and continue to put us on the back burner. As you can see, By our show of red, we are a tight-knit community. We urge this board to put Preserve 2 at the highest priority. We urge you to work with Lewis so that it's done timely and quickly. Putting 5-year-olds on buses for 2 hours a day is not the answer. We want fair treatment for our children, conducive environments for our teachers, and community schools that we can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deanna Dozie.
Good evening, Dr. Enfield, board, members of our community, and cabinet. My name is Deanna Dozie, and I'm both a teacher and a parent at Dixon Elementary. I have 2 kids who attend, a kindergartner and a 3rd grader, who I transferred from Cal Aero in 2016. Over the last few years, I've had people ask me, how's that going? Do you ever regret that decision? And I'm here today to say, my short answer is no. We choose Dixon. And tonight, I would like to be a voice for Dixon. I stand today in front of you in a unique position. I'm both a teacher and a parent at Dixon. And I've had the privilege of having the best principal in Chino Valley, Mr. B, affectionately known as Mr. B. I won't attempt his last name because we're being recorded. I may be biased, but I think we both know, or all know the truth, or I wouldn't be standing here tonight. He's a fantastic man. Let's be honest. Holding Mr. B and placing him at Chino Hills High School with 51 days left in the school year is wrong. We deserve answers. The Dixon community deserves more. What would be the benefit of pulling an elementary school principal with 51 days left in his school year when he has made such significant academic growth? The impact will be devastating. I'll tell you this much. We know research shows that next to a classroom teacher, the most important factor in student achievement is the principal. At Dixon, we finally had the right fit principal. He was able to get buy-in from everybody, staff, students, and their family. Mr. B is responsible for bringing the change we needed at Dixon. He helped us increase student achievement, attendance, and has completely revolutionized the culture at Dixon. And if you've ever had the privilege of being there in the morning, you'll know that. He greets every student and family by name. He gives a high five or a handshake, whatever they prefer. What are we going to do come Monday when their favorite principal isn't there? This will leave a hole in their hearts and will lower the morale at our school. Mr. B's story is not over at Dixon. In my 12 years in education, I've always taught Title I schools. If I had to do it over again, I would always choose a Title I school. There's something very special about them, and they capture your hearts. Mr. B is a very transparent principal, and he's made it known that Dixon has caught his heart. Please show this special community that you hear my voice tonight as I represent them. Please keep Mr. B at Dixon for as long as possible. Spring break, testing, we would like to see him there till the end of the year. Thank you for your time.
Sej Gangula, followed by Carrie Veldis, followed by Joseph Edwards.
Hi, Board, Superintendent Enfield. My name is Sage. I'm the School Site Council for Cal Aero, as well as LCAP representative. I'm here to say we keep repeating ourselves. So we've done this thing at Cal Aero. We had a school last time. We didn't want to open it. Not enough kids. We opened it. Now we're back here. We have a lot of kids in the area, including that new boundary change, and we can't open another school. It's disappointing because I have met many parents in the last couple of years that have transferred over from LA, Compton, that area to the apartments, to come to a community, to feel like they're in a community. And now we're talking about busing their kids elsewhere, including within the preserved boundary, elsewhere, to have them be in another community and make friends and come back and live in a community and not know the kid next door. These are the intangibles we're missing. And I think it's our short-sightedness. Honestly, it's our short-sightedness. We made a decision. I don't know what's going on with Lewis, and frankly, I don't really care. That's your business with Lewis. But this needs to get fixed. 3 years minimum, that could be 5 by the time it gets built. That's too long. So what I'm asking is, I would like a task force with district and board, if board can show up, monthly basis where we talk about Cal Aero, because We can say Cal Aero is not impacted, but Cal Aero, 1,400 students, K through 8, shared gym, shared library is ridiculous. The only reason that school runs is because of that admin team, the teachers and staff. They do so much to give our kids an experience, a little bit of an experience, because honestly, our kids are missing out at Cal Aero itself. I want money put into Cal Aero to fix the security. Where are the fences? Where are the things to move the office where we have safety? We need to look at Cal Aero. I get we need to work on our older schools. I understand, but I'd like a task force. I'd like a monthly meeting with the parents here, parents waiting outside. We start talking and we start planning so we're not short-sighted another 5 years from now. That's what I'm asking. Dr. Enfield, I want to give you a shout out. I want to thank you for working with us on our new admin team, listening to our concerns and the teachers' concerns. Cal Aero has a lot to deal with. Our admin team that is in place now, they're going to do amazing things. I know it. We need help with the space. We need help with the second school. We need to keep those kids in this community so they can grow up with the kids next door. Thank you.
Harry Valdez, followed by Joseph Edwards, followed by Patrick Loy.
Hello, everybody. It's my first time ever speaking at Wendy's, so thank you. My name is Carrie Veldhuis. I'm actually from Chino, went to Chino High School, graduated there a few years ago. So I've been in the district for as a student. I'm currently the PTO president at Cal Aero, and I'm speaking tonight regarding the proposed boundary change that affects the Preserve residents and the Cal Aero students. This sudden change is only most recent in the series on unfair treatment to Preserve residents and Cal Aero families. Just to give a brief history that some of you may know, we had to fight the unlawful decision by the board to open Cal Aero from the beginning. We've had 5 principals in less than 10 years. We've been moved to a year-round schedule, which I think sometimes the district forgets about that, and leaves our students and our budget sometimes in a lurch when they don't remember that we have students for 12 months and not 10 months. One example is like the budget. I feel like PTO, we just forked out $25,000 for 52 computers, 52 laptops, a computer cart, and headphones, because there's just not enough computers to go around for all the students that we have, and they're not having enough time with with these. So thankfully, our board got a grant, and we were able to fund those computers, which we were very thankful to do. But there's also things that I feel like the PTO forks out money for that the budget should, so I don't know how that works, but I'm just throwing that out there for you guys to know that. We have transfers and grandfathered students and students who probably are not supposed to be in our school. I know when we lived on a dairy back in 2015, we had to move off. Cal Aero was the school. My daughter was in 1st grade. We had to move off the dairy. My child was enrolled in Cal Aero. That was our school. I was told, I asked if I could get a transfer because we couldn't find a home in the Preserve to rent because we were just going to rent. I was told, no, absolutely not. If you want to stay in the school, you have to live in the Preserve. So we scrambled, we found a house, we pay a lot of money to live in the Preserve. So, that's a little frustrating too, but we love Cal Aero, we love living in the Preserve, and we feel like the school is a big benefit, and we pay a little extra for that benefit. And our school is definitely at capacity, I think. After talking to some parents that were enrolling today, I think our school is definitely, if not above capacity. So the district is proposing these boundary changes and forcing some students to 10 miles away, and we are saying enough is enough. Preserve 2 needs to be made a priority. The district needs to put aside any issues with Lewis, I don't know what those are, and work to expedite the second school being built.
Thank you.
Okay.
Joseph Edwards, followed by Patrick Loy.
Good evening, President Na, members of the board. My name is Joseph Edwards, and I'm here representing the Lewis Management Corporation. I attended the last board meeting on February the 21st and the district community meetings that the staff held at Cal Aero. And I was curious as to how the district was planning to implement a temporary boundary change for the Calero Academy. When Lewis heard of the announcement, Randall Lewis personally sent out a letter to notify Preserve residents and encourage them to attend the community meetings to learn of the plan. Lewis also held a few impromptu meetings with residents to share what we knew about the implications of the plan and the proposed boundary proposal. It has become apparent that people need to understand the facts as to how we got to this point and what needs to happen next. So here are a few facts. Number one, Lewis has been urging the district to begin planning for the new Preserve K-8 school since 2014 because we understood the growth that was going to be happening in the Preserve area. To help move the process forward in 2015, Lewis assisted the district to select an architect to design the new Preserve school. WLC was eventually selected by the district. Fact 3, in 2016, the district told Preserve residents that the $750 million Measure G bond would fund construction of the new Preserve school, as there was no state money available since the district was experiencing declining enrollment. Voters approved Measure G, and Preserve residents are now paying the tax, and so is Lewis. Even though voters passed Measure G, the district imposing such a special tax on Lewis holdings in the Preserve is in violation of the school mitigation agreement. Fact 4, in early 2018, Lewis submitted a proposal to the board to get WLC moving on the school design. It was urgent, and we needed to get the project moving, and we also offered to help fund the project. The board rejected the Lewis proposal. Fact 5, on September 21st, 2018, Lewis management submitted a letter to the board president and members requesting the district immediately begin the new Preserve school. The board never responded to our letter. Fact 6, on January 18th of this year, the district sent Lewis a letter electing to terminate the school mitigation agreement and demanded that Lewis begin payment of school fees. The district said it would build a new school, but could not say definitively as to when and what the timing would be. Now the district is proposing boundary changes, citing exponential Preserve growth and threatening to bus Chino students to Ontario schools. Staff said at their community meeting that they were delivering board policy, and if residents were unhappy with the policy, they should take it up with the board. Hence, you see the resident turnout this evening, and they're bringing the matter now to your attention. We see the solution as simple. We need you, the board, to direct staff to get the architect moving on the design of the Preserve school now.
Thank you.
Patrick Loy, followed by Lindsay Salapar.
Good evening, Chairman Na, members of the board. My name is Patrick Loy, and I represent Lewis Management Corp. I've worked on the Preserve since 2002, and with the district, initially we were planning first discussion about schools in the Preserve, which led to an agreement to build schools, ultimately the construction and completion and opening of Calero, and to this day. Tonight there's many residents are here, there's more in the hallway and outside that they may speak, they may not, but we understand the change in school boundaries are being considered. I'm here tonight to reaffirm that Lewis stands ready, willing, and able to work with the district, even though the agreement's been canceled, to try to expedite and help deliver that second school. The request we would make respectfully to the board is that they consider hiring the architect right away to get started on the plans. This can be done while the land is being reviewed and approved by the state offices. We did that with Calero. There are certain activities that can be done concurrently to expedite the construction and delivery of the school. So if there's ways we can work to help, that's fine. And we're happy to do that. We want to expedite the delivery of the school. And so in summary, in terms of money, there's money there. There's Measure G funds. There were also funds that were collected under the agreement that we had. There were non-Lewis builders in the Preserve that paid school fees. And we understand over $4 million was segregated in an account earmarked for the second school. So there's money there that we believe that this project could get started. But respectfully, our request is just that the board consider bringing this back at another agenda, at another meeting where you can actually discuss it and determine how to move forward on the school and how to hire the architect and set a priority and a timing for the delivery. We know it's a lengthy process from start to finish, And we'd like to see how we can work with the district to expedite that and make that happen. So thank you for your time tonight and listening to our requests.
Thank you.
Lindsay Salapar, followed by Young Kang, followed by Anna Lee.
Good evening. I have nothing prepared, but I feel convicted to speak. I have my daughters up here with me as well tonight. My name is Lindsay Salapari, and I am a Preserve resident. I've lived there for nearly 13 years. And also, I've been born and raised in Chino, and my roots are here. When my husband and I were first married, we decided on the Preserve in Chino to grow our family and to start our roots. We have 3 children, Harley, age 8, Romy, age 6.5, and we have a son named Dempsey, age 4. Our kids attend Cal Aero, and we love Cal Aero, right? Your school. That's our home. It's our community. It's where they play sports with their friends at school. They attend birthday parties. Many of the kids in their class have been born in the same month. They're our neighbors. It's where a big reason why we chose the Preserve. And so we also have just purchased our second home. We outgrew our first home and just purchased our second home. Paid a premium price, paid premium taxes to live in the Preserve, but for us, it's worth it. We love our school, and that is a big reason that we have chosen that. And the thought of my 4-year-old son not being able to be guaranteed to go to Cal Aero is outrageous and maddening and just absurd. And so the thought of him being bused to a different city after I lived here nearly 13 years and paid taxes, and the thought of him getting bused to a different school temporarily, and that is such a broad term, temporarily is really upsetting. And so I urge you, these are families that these decisions are being, that will be affected. These are families, these are children, and we've invested a lot into our community. And I would just urge you to please make the Preserve 2 a priority, and just see what is being affected by all of that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Young Kang, followed by Anna Lee, followed by Joe Fraga and Melody Yin.
Good evening, President Na and members of the board. I'm a little nervous, so you'll have to pardon me. I think most of the points that I wanted to point out have already been made very eloquently by Mrs. Fraga, and I would just like to bring up a couple more concerns that I had in my phone. First of all, I am concerned in the credibility of the promise that the boundaries will not be changed again and that they are temporary. That credibility is in doubt in my mind because previous promises of temporary year-round schooling seem to be compromised. And I believe that there was even in print saying that the year-round schooling is only in effect until we can build that second school because we understand the need of the community for a second school. But that second school isn't coming now. So our kids are forced to be in year-round schooling longer now. Many of the families within our community decided that they wanted to transfer their students out of Cal Aero so that they could have a chance to attend a traditional school. And now, with Cal Aero almost reaching capacity, we're afraid because a lot of those families wanted to come back to Cal Aero to attend the junior high level in the community that is really amazing. We have such a strong sense of community there. So a lot of the families were planning to come back for 7th and 8th, and now they're worried that they can't. So that's another concern. Is there a guarantee for those families that transfer the kids out to be able to come back in? I'm at a crossroads myself, having had my 8-year-old and 12-year-old in the year-round schooling, and now that my 12-year-old is in 7th grade, I wanted to transfer my 8-year-old out to traditional schooling so that we could make the most of family vacations and spring breaks and whatnot. But now I'm scared. If I do get that spot at the traditional school, will my daughter be able to come back for the junior high school years? If she doesn't get accepted for a transfer to a junior high that isn't Cal Arrow, and she's rejected, will she be able to come back to Cal Arrow? I believe that her right to do so is forfeited, and that concerns me. So now I'm scared to transfer my child out at all, save her spot in a school that, quite frankly, is really overcrowded and stretched to its limits, bursting at the seams, need of funding that just isn't there. So thank you. I don't envy your position, but we do need some answers that are concrete and not so easily compromised. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna Lee, followed by Joe Fraga and Melanie Yin, and followed by Yoon Ying.
Good evening. This is an absolute honor and privilege to come here and speak to you. My name is Anna Lee, and I am a resident at the Preserve, and I've lived there for a couple of years. When we moved out there, it was a dream come true that we can buy a home that we could afford, because we were renting at Chino Hills. And a huge part of us moving out there was we could afford the home, but we loved the school, Cal Arrow. I'm a school teacher at a different district, and I did a lot of reviews of the school. And when my two daughters began Cal Arrow, I was very, very satisfied. The teachers, administration were very easy to speak with, and I loved the neighborhood. But after 1 year of trying the year round, unfortunately, as a working mom, it didn't work out because I couldn't, it was very difficult with childcare, especially during off-track time. A traditional calendar at least has summer camps for working moms and working dads, but with year-round, it was a challenge that there was no on-site childcare. So we made the really difficult decision after 1 year to leave, but to come back for middle school because the junior high runs on a traditional calendar. I never usually speak up at board meetings, or I'm usually, pretty quiet in my personal life. I don't ever make reviews on Yelp, or, but this one, like another parent, I just felt so strongly convicted. And I'm sure there are so many families like me in the Preserve where maybe they left because of the year-round schedule, and hoping to come back for junior high. And when I heard of this latest news, I was very concerned about the possibility of my daughters coming back for junior high, and the possibility of them being bused out to Ontario. We have no connection to Ontario. That's not our neighborhood. I have no idea what these schools are, how far they are, and it was just very concerning. Also, I am actually a product of inner city school in LAUSD. I went to a year-round school, and then I was bussed out because we were busting out at the seams to a school in the valley that was traditional. And I will say going from year-round to traditional was night and day, personally speaking. And I mean, Cal Arrow is an amazing school with amazing teachers, but I know that with such a large population and with resources, limited resources, that poses a big challenge for students to receive equitable access to resources and even instructional days. There is a difference. I counted the calendar. Traditional schools have 10 more instructional days than year-round schools. And I know that year-round, the day is a little bit longer, I think by 10 minutes, but a teacher is not teaching a new lesson in those last 10 minutes, whereas 10 instructional days makes a huge difference. Thank you so much.
Joe Fraga and Melanie Yin, followed by Yoon Siang, followed by Jason Chang.
Good evening. My name is Joe Fraga, resident of the Preserve. And I'm standing here with Melody Yin, who is a neighbor, fellow homeowner in the Preserve. And she asked me to help her read a statement that they created. A group of them, which of close to 50 individuals that are here tonight that represent the Asian community in the Preserve. Most of them are outside. Dear sirs or madams of the Chino Valley Unified School District, we are residents of the Preserve community and shocked on receiving a notice that the school in our community will be rezoned. We cannot accept this. For a long time, we have been happy that our children can get to go to Cal Arrow, which is near, and the way to school is very safe. Children enjoy walking to school and studying in the library next to the school. We cannot bear that you are depriving our children and our families of this convenience. to solve the capacity of Calero, the school district should build the second school in the preserve community as soon as possible. And I would like to add, Preserve 2 needs to be made a priority. The district needs to put aside any issues with Lewis and work to expedite the second school being built. The district needs to account for Measure G funds and the Preserve Builders Segregated Fund and make available the money needed to build Preserve 2. The district also needs to answer why no Measure G money has yet to be spent on Calero or Preserve 2, as was promised by the board and the school superintendent in 2016. Finally, the board needs to recognize that busing children to attend schools miles away in a different city is neither safe nor conducive to the social, emotional, or academic development of Preserve students. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yoon Chiang, followed by Jason Chang. Yoon? Is there Yoon? It looks like S-I-A-N-G. Jason Chang.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Chan, and I am not a house owner in Chino Valley area. I'm here to speak for my friend. He is a house owner, and he is traveling in Europe right now, so he asked me to come to this place and join this meeting and give him all the information you guys are having here to him. So I actually did not have any preparation. Until I arrived to this hall, I realized the scenario is much worse than my expectation. So I have to stand up and speak for him. I against the Chino Valley Unified School District redistricting, because owners here, they are paying ridiculously high tax just for the good schools here and a good environment. And this is not reasonable to move everyone to another school district only because there is a higher school or student pressure on the school district. Meanwhile, when the builders are selling the house, selling the communities, they are using the school district as a reason to increase the price. But now they are redistricting the school district, which means every owner's money is a waste. So I think all of the school district redistricting is a sort of a nonsense. I hope everyone that related could think this twice before you really make the final decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
30 minutes.
It hasn't all been on this issue, though.
No.
It hasn't been on a single issue. We've had Dixon.
It's been 30 minutes. I'm just letting her know. 4.
4 more? Yeah, we got 4 more, that's fine. Let everybody.
Barbara Hugh. Barbara H.U. Rachel Reyes. Elena Lacaro. Okay.
Hi, my name is Rachel Reyes. My name is Rachel Reyes. I'm a parent of 3 small children. I have been a resident for almost 7 years. One of Chino Valley Unified School District core values is parents and guardians are our partners in the education process. I am deeply disappointed that the school board is imposing the proposed boundary changes that affect the lives of me, my children, neighbors, and future neighbors of this growing community. I have moved my family to this city to feel a sense of pride in my community and school system. I am hoping the board can make the right decisions by building the second preserved school as promised. Our voices matter, and my tax dollars matter. The preserve is the future of Chino. As a district core values state collaboration, cooperation, respectfulness are essential in the learning environment. And I'm going to end with a quote from Robert Frost. Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or self-confidence. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elena Lacaro.
Hello, board members. Hello, cabinet. I'm here today because I haven't been here for almost 6 months. And I really wanted to come over. First of all, I know that as parents, you have lots of parents here tonight, and we want the best of our kids. But I also want to say that being a teacher in the LA Unified School District, I never had the opportunity to address the board. I never had the opportunity to come to the cabinet members and be heard. So for that, I do thank you, that you give us this opportunity and the accessibility to you, and that you listen to us. And I do hope that you take all these parents who came up here and take it to heart, because that's the board members that I believe in. That's the cabinet members that I believe in. I worked with many of you in a very personal way, and I believe that you have good hearts, and every time you do your work, you think about these students, you think about the parents. Ms. Hernandez-Blair, I remember a few years ago you went into a school called Young Roads and you sat down with the PFA. You wanted feedback. You were the president. And I hope you still have that energy and that have that dedication to really listen to what is being said. I also know that Mr. Na and Mr. Cruz, you also come when we have graduations. You also been there shaking the hands of students, and you know how much we feel and when we see accomplishments of our kids. And then Mr. Schaefer, I've been in all the committees with you, the LCAP, the DLAC, the Measure G, every committee I've been with you. And so for the past 10 years, it feels 10, but it's actually 5 years, I've been involved in all different committees. And so now I come to talk to you because I want to say that you do have people that, Mr. Enfield, today I saw you walking to the adult school, and my students were like, who is he? I'm like, that's Mr. Superintendent. And so I want to tell you that you have a strong cabinet. You have Ms. Leah Fellows, Ms. Grace Park, everyone here I had a chance to meet. And Mr. Statura, you're a really wonderful man. And I know that I bring this to attention because it's really hard to be in your seat. And today I'm here because I am aching right now, because I see that not only what I heard today with the parents, but also because what is aching in my heart is because I really want to see a campus that our school campus drug-free. I really want to see that. The first time I came into a 9th grade school, you know, the principal asked us, told us welcome, greeted us, but he said, all schools have drugs. Well, I want to tell you, please let that be your mission. Clear our schools from drugs. And I really would like you to please take that into heart and everything that you heard tonight. I thank you for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.
Nanette Romero.
Good evening. My name is Nanette Romero. I'm a parent at Doris Dixon Elementary School. I'm a new parent. I'm also a graphic designer that does government contract work for other school districts, Marietta Valley, Menifee Union, and I completed a stint at MSJC. And I have a lot of time working with board members and decision makers and with parents. And everybody usually has the same goal. Let's do what's right for the kids. Let's make sure we're on budget. We're not going beyond our means, and let's make sure we're doing it together. We're listening and we're checking in with everybody. I just transferred to Doris Dixon from Newman, and so because of that unique movement, my 2 students have had 4 principals in 3 years, and they're coming up on 5. And I'm a little disheartened. In the short time I've been there, Mr. B is out there every morning. He's out there greeting parents, greeting students, and you can feel the difference. And I encourage my kids to always make an effort to reach out to an adult and to get to know them and to communicate with them and build that trust. There's so much changing around our kids. There's so much hitting them all the time. And that consistency helps. It helps trust. It helps build trust. It helps with the nightmares when they're getting bullied. And they go, hey, have you talked to Mr. B? Yeah, I'll go talk to him and I'll see if they can help me out, and they can't. And in this transition from Mr. B's doing great, let's move him up, I think you shortchanged Mr. B in taking away his chance to finish the vision he had. When I deal with business services, superintendents, and things like that, it's kind of like a club. They all kind of move up together. You know, oh, I remember in '87. You know, I remember when Murrieta Mesa opened, or I remember when Murrieta Valley opened, or you know, I remembered when they built Cali Kirkpatrick. And I feel like in our haste to identify and reward great work, we almost trip over our own feet because we haven't given them a chance to realize their vision. And I just, as a new parent to this school, I was really hesitant. And we moved because of bullying and many other reasons. And the school district was great in working with us and helping resolve that. And my hope is that the community and team effort and the team vibe that comes here, yes, you're all very important and very well educated, and it's very impressive. And working with the parents who are PhD level knowledgeable about their kids is super important too. And I just want to bring that to your attention. There are a lot of parents here who have way more experience than I do, and they mean it. They're not here they're not at home doing laundry, putting kids for baths, getting ready for school tomorrow. They're here telling you it's not time yet. We're not ready yet. And so I just wanted to add my new voice to that. They're here because they want it, and that's it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Na, can we take like 3-minute break?
Okay. You need 3 minutes?
Yeah.
break? Okay, 3-minute break. Next item, we're now at changes and deletions. Pat, are there any changes or deletions? Oh, she's not here. A few more minutes.
Mr. Satura.
Changes and deletions, Pat is here. Pat, are there any changes or deletions?
The following changes and deletions are on the agenda. Item 3C1 CIIS, student expulsions, page 39. Case 1819-20 is deleted from the agenda. Item 3C4 CIIS, revision of board policy 5141.21, students administering medication and monitoring health conditions is pulled from the agenda. And item 3E1, human resources, certificated classified personnel, page 74. Under appointment, delete the name Lorena Higuera, attendance clerk, Chino Hills High School.
Thank you. We're now at the action items. Please announce the first item.
Item 2A1, Richard Gerd Educational Hall of Fame 2019 inductees.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the Richard Gerd Educational Hall of Fame 2019 inductees as follows. Employees, recipients, Brett Benson, Paula Mihalo, John C. Munger, and distinguished service recipient, Judith Rogers. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
No speakers. May I have a motion?
Motion moved.
Moved by Ms. Gagne and seconded by Mrs. Blair. Any comments, discussions? I have a comment. These are wonderful people. They have retired, some of them, but they changed our way of living in Chino Valley because they were giving people. Mr. Munger was a great coach and still an active member, so thank you for our services. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Presidential vote?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Item 2B1, 2018-2019, second interim financial report.
Recommend the Board of Education approve the 2018/2019 second interim financial report and authorize the President of the Board of Education and the Superintendent to sign the positive certification of financial condition for the current and 2 subsequent fiscal years. Are there any speakers?
No speakers.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair, seconded by Mr. Cruz. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote? Aye. Passes 5-0.
Can I say something real quick, Mr. Nall? You know, Ms. Sandra, you've always been consistent with the financial things. And we have to applaud of the things you have done. Very consistent, always has been positive for the number of years. So congratulations.
We're now at consent. Pat, are there any speakers in consent items?
None.
Seeing none. Board members, do you have any polls? Mr. Schaefer.
I do. 3B2, page 33.
Mrs. Gagne?
No polls.
No polls. Mr. Cruz?
No polls.
Mrs. Blair?
No polls.
And I have no polls. For the consent items, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Gagne,
Second.
seconded by Mrs. Blair. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And preferential?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Now we're looking at 3B2, page 33, and may I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Blair,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Cruz. Mr. Schaefer.
This has to do with the fundraising, and specifically the weekly bingo at Chino Hills High School. And I had a few questions from the second progress report on the improvement plan. Dr. Enfield, is there someone from the accounting firm here tonight?
Yeah, Mr. Andrew Park, could you please come up? Thank you.
Good evening.
Mr. Park, is it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for being here. And hopefully you can answer some of the questions that I have. Is this the only fundraising event that the General Booster Club performs?
I believe so. This is their primary fundraiser. Anything outside, I wasn't really focused on. This was my targeted area as far as this scope was concerned.
Okay. In the report, there are several areas that have not been met as far as recommendations for the improvements. Are any of those of concern to you?
In particular, I think my biggest area that I focused on was cash handling and management of cash, primarily the intake portion. That's where I focus, and that's where all the biggest concerns were. As far as cash outflow, disbursements, you know, just like any other boosters, the general booster was limited by the amount of resources and also by time constraints. These are all volunteer positions, and as a result, you're really limited to the number of volunteers you have. So a lot of these procedures that we try to implement, you know, I've worked with them quite a bit, and I kind of got to understand some of the problems that they've encountered. And a lot of the problem stems from volunteers. If you don't have volunteers, no matter what I want to implement, it's just not going to happen. So what's going on right now is within the report, some of the areas that I have not, well, I've stated that it's not implemented. It's limited. It's because it's limited by the resources that they have. So they've tried, but then at the same time, it's just some of the things aren't possible.
On an annual basis, what is their revenue?
Currently, I'm projecting $1.2 million gross revenue.
And what is the amount that's donated back? Or let me rephrase that. What is their net proceeds off of that amount?
Net proceeds from bingo specifically is about, I'm going to approximate about $324,000.
And do they have a proper accounting of where that money has gone as far as donations and things that they may have put back into the school?
They've struggled initially. They've actually taken a lot of my recommendations, and as far as the accounting transaction is concerned, they've cleaned up substantially. Now, are they perfect? No, not yet. I mean, again, just as any booster operation, and even boosters, even ASBs, to a certain degree, none of these parents are accountants by nature, so they've kind of struggled, but at the same time, they have made some enhancements to their accounting.
I have some questions specifically related to page 13 of your report. And
Bear with me.
That's okay.
Okay. Okay. I'm there.
Do you know how much the maximum is they pay out on each game?
It depends. So main bingo game is $250 per game. And then they have several games that actually kind of concurrently takes place. They have specials, $5 games, flashboards. And as far as the payout is concerned, they all vary. But the main bingo game, which is comprised of 24 games per bingo event, is $250 per game.
Okay. Is any maximum payout over $500?
Yes, I believe there's some in the form of flashboards. They call it flashboards, but it's sort of like it could be a variety of things. It could be a mini bingo game, or it's sort of like a lottery ticket type of situation where you have to sell the entire box, and statistically there's an information as far as how much you would generate and on top of how much you would pay. And I believe the highest payout is $11.99.
If we could move to page 15 of your report. A second ago, you indicated these were all volunteer positions.
Yes.
Can you explain the first 5 entries on your insert reference quarterly compensation?
Now, my function was specifically to report what I see. Now, compensation is completely outside of what we would normally see at a booster. I've worked with pretty large boosters, and I've never seen compensation paid by board members. So I thought, from an information standpoint, I thought this is an area that I need to report to the board so that as far as making your decisions are concerned, that will facilitate your decision-making process.
And I appreciate that. Are you familiar at all with the penal code sections that govern the bingos?
No, I mean, legal isn't my specialty,
Okay.
so.
It specifically states in Penal Code Section 326.5, subsection B, that it is a misdemeanor for any person to receive or pay profit, wage, or salary from any bingo game authorized. It goes on to say that you may not use the proceeds from bingo to pay any wages or salaries other than a security guard. Is that practice still in place that you know?
Depending on how you perceive the operation. Now, we can't treat this just as a bingo operation. This is a booster operation.
But their only proceed is from bingo, correct?
You're absolutely correct.
So all the proceeds in that booster are bingo proceeds?
Yes, if that's your perception.
Okay. The bingo sales, the sale of the cards, the flash cards, daubers, the snacks and all that stuff, are those all locked together into one bucket of proceeds, or are they segregated into proceeds from bingo, proceeds from the snacks?
They're all segregated.
Okay. Do they have, or have they presented you a ledger to show what their actual expenses are? Because the only accounting that I've seen was about maybe a 10-line statement saying this is what we brought in, this is what went out, this is our new balance. And it didn't have any line items as to where the money may have gone.
Now, I have to kind of remind you what this engagement was. Initially, I made an initial assessment of the operation, and upon that initial assessment, basically I was engaged to assist with the improvement plan based on what was drafted by the district. So as far as all these progress reports are concerned, yes, I made the initial assessment as far as where they were in terms of accounting and their operational matters, but as far as my scope, from what my understanding was, to basically report back, while facilitating improvement, report back the status in terms of where they were with the corrective action plan. So to answer your question, as far as this phase of the scope is concerned, that wasn't my 100% focus.
Okay, and fair enough. I appreciate your honesty. Just one last question for me at this point. Also under Penal Code Section 326.5, it specifically states in subsection J that all profits from bingo games shall be used only for charitable purposes. Is that currently the case? Keeping in mind the...
I don't believe I'm in any position to answer that since I have no legal background. I'm just going to be honest with you. And again, I wasn't engaged to provide an opinion on these matters. I'm just reporting reporting as far as this is concerned.
Okay.
That's really outside of my scope as far as talking, as far as my opinion.
I can
with
appreciate
matter is
that.
concerned.
I can appreciate that. So not specifically directed to you, sir, but just for the record, I'm extremely concerned about taking quarterly compensation, whether it's $1 or $500. I'm also concerned about a couple of entries that were included in this report that were claims for lost wages by some of the board members. And I think that this is a very slippery slope. I think actually they've crossed the line, and I'm not sure they're within the law. And I have a lot of concerns about it. And you know, we've been approving this conditionally for a month, 2 months, 3 months for the last year or so. At some point in time, I think we need to make sure that we need to send a message from this board that these issues need to be taken care of and resolved. Because you have to remember the setup of the General Booster Club down there. The General Booster Club is the main booster club, and there are several booster clubs that fall underneath them, so to speak, as the umbrella. And if something happens to the main booster club, all of those other booster clubs that have been doing their own fundraising are going to potentially lose their money also, because they're all within one bank account, and they all have under one main bank account, and they have sub-bank accounts for the different booster clubs down there. And I'm just concerned for those other 5, 6, 7 booster clubs that their viability is in jeopardy because of the actions of this General Booster Club. I will yield the floor right now if anyone else has questions.
Okay, Mr. Cruz?
Just one other thing real quick, I'm sorry. And Dr. Enfield, I understand that this is a kind of a tough one for us, that they are actually their own 501c3 corp. They only operate in our district with our approval. And so I think we really need to take a look at the approval that we're providing them.
Yeah,
Mr. Cruz.
I'm just gonna, things came onto my mind, so I'm just gonna talk. So you said 1.2 million, right?
Yes.
And where does it go to? What clubs or activities does that go to? You
I
kinda-
don't have the details of that, unfortunately, but
Okay.
I would say, basically, if you do raise $1.2 million, your margin is about 27%, so you're looking at about $324,000, and the remainder, so approximately about $850,000 to $900,000 goes into payout type of expense.
And do you think it goes to the band activities?
I'm not sure.
Football activities, baseball? How long has this been going on, the Booster Club?
Oh gosh, more than 10 years.
Now, the people that are running it, because these are the things I'm thinking in my head, is it the same people, or they turn over every 2, 3 years?
I was engaged last year, and there was a turnover of the treasurer position. All the other board members kind of stuck around.
Now, you've seen these bingo games, right?
Yes.
I'm just curious, can I do it? Is it easy for me to jump in and learn this stuff?
I'm going to be honest with you. I actually observed as part of my engagement here, and it was extremely hard for me to follow what was going on.
Okay, so.
I agree.
There's things going on all over the place, and if you don't know what needs to be done,
All right.
I would believe that you'd be confused.
So, Ms. Chen, just curious, the Booster Club, are we very connected to this, or is this like an outside system? I just, in terms of the money issues and so forth, is this something out, or is it integrated part of, you know what I mean, right? I don't know how to describe it.
Well, these funds are outside the district's funding from the state. These are all parent fundraised funds, primarily to assist with the school functions and activities.
And who votes for these people?
It's an internal function.
So does the community have accountability with these people? Because somebody has to vote for them, right?
Yeah, I believe whoever wants to participate has the option of participating.
And this has been going on for many years and has been very successful.
I would say it's $324,000 at a minimum added to Chino Hills High School, so that's pretty
And you're just an audit. You're not an attorney and so forth,
No,
but
absolutely not.
if there were some issues going on, I wonder if there would be, if a lawyer would take it up, or I don't know. I'm just wondering. Okay. I mean, these are the things I'm thinking about, because if, it sounds to me that these people are pros at what they're doing.
They've done it for a while, so
Yeah.
they have a system.
I know,
in
that's what
place.
I'm thinking. Okay. And has done very good things for the community. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blair.
I know it's unfair to you, Dr. Enfield, that this is coming up now, but it has been something we've been discussing on this board since last year. And at one point, Mrs. Orozco and I had brought forth attempting to suspend the bingo for a bit. And then I think our motion kind of fell to the wayside, or there was something that we were going to wait for. I've attended the bingos. You can't get a seat, first of all, so there would have been absolutely no place for you to try to sit, because as I shared in prior meetings, there are senior groups that attend, and they have their reserved tables, and so you can't try to join their table because you're not from the senior center, so you're not sitting with them, and almost every table is reserved. So if you're new, yeah, you're not likely going to get a seat unless someone doesn't show up. But it is packed from 10 a.m. until it's done at 4 or 5, and it is continuous. The intent is good. These are parent volunteers. This isn't our only booster that, in my time on the board, has had issues. So I want to make sure that we're all aware that it's not just Chino Hills High School. If we look back at the reports, there have been concerns at every school site. However, the revenue that Chino Hills High School is able to secure is significantly high. We have high schools that can barely raise $15,000 a year, and then you have one that has 1.5 million. You know, it's just the disparity is significant. My concern continues to be, as Mr. Schaefer stated, when do we stop this? When do we suspend this? Because we've been hearing the concerns since last year, and yet I don't know what we're waiting for. I don't know what we're waiting for, and something needs to be decided by this board. As unpleasant as it will be, because it will be, we need to address it, because we need to be able to stop it so that our auditor can then say, okay, this is where the money stops, there's no more incoming money, so that he can attempt to work with the group with just what they have and not continue to bring in more revenue that is being added, and he's not sure where to continue, where to stop. And so I think we need to decide at some point very soon that we're going to suspend it, whether it be April 1st, whether it be May 1st, we need to set a date for this. So I think it's something that should be brought back to the board. Thank you.
Mr. Schaefer?
What's being proposed in this report is conditional approval through April 18th. So from today's, basically tomorrow's date through April 18th. Pat, if we want to make a motion to take action just on Chino Hills High, just the bingo, can we separate it out from the rest of these? Yes, you can. By motion? I will make a motion that effective April 1st, the bingo, only the bingo operation is suspended until until which time is the board satisfied that there are proper protocols in place for the accountability of funds.
Mr. Cruz?
Yeah, before we do that, the audit, is it complete?
It's ongoing. I mean, it depends on what the board is looking for. Again, this is just me going to the corrective action plan and reporting back in terms of how they're doing. So, now I hate to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
from a progression standpoint, I could vouch to the board that they've made substantial progress when it comes to the revenue side of the transaction. Now, Have they followed through on all the other transactions that, the corrective action plan that I pointed out that they're not planning to implement? I mean, yeah, sure, that's a problem, but again, as I mentioned to you, they're limited by the resources that they have.
So it's best that we wait until it gets completed.
That's
Whenever
up to the
that
board.
depends, I'm just simply saying, it makes common sense to.
Okay.
But it's an ongoing process, so it's really not going to end until we say it's done.
It's done.
So
okay.
at some point in time as a board, we are going to have
So-
to take action.
Mr. Cruz.
So it's done today? When is it done?
It's up to the board. I mean, really what I'm looking for is, it's kind of open-ended. This engagement is open-ended as far as my reporting to the board. So if I have a clear direction in terms of what the board is exactly looking for, again, my engagement was to report back currently on the corrective action plan and the progress, okay? So if you want anything above and beyond that, then you could, certainly
And then
let me
make a
know
motion
and we
on
can kind of
Chino
go
Hills
Well,
approach it in that manner.
okay, I have a comment, and then Ms. Gagne. Ms. Gagne, you want to go first?
Yeah, thank you. I think what I would endorse to the board, because while there are concerns obviously about financial management, it also is a program that is parent-run and is providing Chino Hills High School with a variety of opportunities. So I'm very hesitant to, towards the tail end of the school year, just sort of pull the plug on something, if you will. I would endorse that we come up with a list of things we'd like to see. It seems as though there's some deficiencies, and thank you for the thoroughness of your report, but you're obviously limited by what you're given, and it seems like there's been some deficiencies in what you've been given. Why don't we create a list of what we'd like to see as a board? And if that's not delivered, then take action. I just think that we need to be more specific, and again, I'm a newer board member, so I don't know the entire history of this, but I think that we need to be very specific in our requests. If those requests are not made, then take whatever corrective action we deem necessary.
And let me make my comment. I see the parents too, and I have a heart for you guys. The Booster Club, even though I wasn't really involved with Booster Club when my kids were in school, were served in one purpose, that to provide fundings for children activities on that site. So personally, I like to make sure that the funds are used for that purpose, not for personal enrichment or gain. I do have to agree with Mr. Cruz and Ms. Gagne, where until we find that, and there should be a percentage. I know not only our school districts have booster clubs, but others too, and see what kind of percentage are spent actually for extra costs, but actually going to the real funding for the school and student programs. And that's something that we have seen all these years about nonprofits too, where you would donate for helping rescuing dogs or feeding the homeless. Different groups have different percentages, and we were recommended often by our friends, do not give to this group because they're spending so much on other things. So that's what I like to see, because we're here for the kids, not for their fun or just a money's sake for what's coming in. If that money does not serve that purpose, or does not enrich our children programs, we don't need that. We need to separate from that. That's like drug dealers selling drugs to our kids, but not giving it to their own, because they're for the money. And as an adults, we're over 18 years old, we need to know that and our stance and our belief system. So I like to see report coming back and see what type of percentage are really spent on programs and for the student activities. That's my personal view. Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah, I just would like to remind us all that this has been an ongoing process. We've been going through this same process that we're talking about for almost a year. And at some point in time, they're either going to be compliant and they're going to be transparent and show where the funds are going and be a little more, in my opinion, above board. And I don't think they're going to do that until we put them under the gun, so to speak. And I applaud them for doing this. It's a great thing. They put a lot of money back into the school. But that doesn't mean we turn a blind eye to the issues that they're having. And maybe they put $320,000 back into the school. Maybe it should have been $520,000. But we don't know that because there hasn't been proper accountability. And we're not talking about, you know, a little $200 candy sale here. We're talking about over $1 million a year. That's an insane amount of money. And we need to hold, if they're going to be able to do that, they need to be held to a higher standard than what they're currently at for accountability purposes. And so I will amend my motion that I originally made, and I will make a motion that we conditionally approve their bingo from March 8th, 2019 to April 1st, 2019, which gives them a couple of more weekends to kind of get things in order, and then it will come back to us at that time.
Mrs. Gagne?
Has this board directly communicated that the result of not being fully compliant with the auditor and being as transparent as possible is going to be the cessation of this program?
If I recall, Mrs. Orozco has met with the boosters, and I believe that there has been communication from staff last year. Yeah.
Ms. Blair, you had a comment?
Well, I think it was Ms. Gagne who mentioned that we provide the boosters with, you know, a set of guidelines that they have to meet, but that's already what the auditor has presented to them, you know, recommendations for corrective action. They've already received that, so we just heard they still haven't complied.
Okay, Mrs. Chen.
So Mr. Schaefer has a motion, so I need to second it so that we can continue to have conversation. So I second.
Okay, Mrs. Chen.
Thank you. The consequences are included in the improvement plan that was previously signed by the board members. But just to remind the board and recount the timeline a little bit, this began sometime back in June of 2018. Staff met with the boosters in September to get that plan signed, and technically speaking, the monitoring of the booster by Mr. Park began sometime in fall. So October was really the start of the monitoring, and then in January a report was brought forward to you from the initial meetings, and then today another report. So just to give you a time frame of when the actual monitoring began.
So we have a motion on the table,
And a second.
and can you say it again one more time, Mr. Schaefer?
It's just to amend the conditional approval dates from March 8th, 2019 to April 1st, 2019.
So existing date is March 8th, and we're extending it to April?
April 1st.
April 1st. Okay. Any other discussions? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
I oppose.
Okay. It's a 4-1.
So now, Pat, we need to vote on the
Preferential.
actual motion.
And provincial vote?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome.
As
We need to
amended.
vote on the actual item now,
As amended.
as amended. So I move that we approve the item as amended.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Preferential vote?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're now at information items. Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we're now at board member and superintendent comments. Mr. Schaefer.
Thank you. First, I'd like to start off by congratulating Mr. Tony Flores for his community award. Very, very deserving gentleman. He has done some great things for our district, and the folks out at Cattle and the All-Pro Dads. Not to slam anybody, but I would just like to mention that the Superintendent of Public Instruction, Mr. Tony Thurman, was in our district last week and visited Woodcrest Junior High. Because of some late notifications, unfortunately, I don't think any of the board members were able to attend. So I do apologize to Mr. Thurman and to the Woodcrest family for not having a board presence. It's a fairly significant event in the district. I'm just going to touch on this real quick because there were a lot of folks talking about it tonight, the temporary boundary changes. There's a lot of emotion on both sides, and I understand that. I would just implore people to please, please, please consider your source of information and take into account the motives that the individuals that are providing you with the information might have. Okay? The district does not sell homes, which is the main push for a developer, is to have another school there to sell the homes for as much as they can. Might not be in the best interest of the district. I don't know. We haven't seen all the information yet. But I would just implore you to please, please, please consider the source of your information and make sure that it's accurate. I attended the District Art Showcase held out at Magnolia Junior High. It was a fantastic event. It was actually a two-day event. I went to the second day, was able to hear Magnolia's band, which was fantastic, and there was a lot of great art from all different age groups and grade levels, so that was a great event. Unfortunately, I was scheduled, invited to go out to Levi Dickey for Read Across America. I was extremely ill that morning and the previous couple of days, and so I was not able to participate. But I did hear that it was a fantastic event and that it was very well executed. So hopefully, Dickey, next year, the invitation will still stand. And last night, I attended, it was called a multicultural event at Wickman Elementary. It was fantastic. It came out of their DLAC committee, and then their assistant principal, Mr. Corenzo, kind of took the lead. And what it was is there's obviously all kinds of different cultures and countries represented by the students at Wickman, and so they decided they were going to do a cultural event. And different countries had booths where they wore their traditional clothing. They provided samples of food, traditional food, and music, and then there were some programming that went on as far as Chinese dragon dance and some other types of dances and music from different countries. It was inside because of the rain, but it was packed, and it was a great event, and hopefully it'll kind of spark and maybe catch at some of our other schools, because it was a great opportunity for our students and families and me to see the different cultures and to hear about the different countries that are represented in our district. Just one committee report tonight from Baldy View. We had a special governance session last week. It was held at the Career Training Center in Ontario. And again, we're in the process, through ROP, is in the process of building a logistics training facility on the campus in Ontario. It should be done, I believe, in October, and it's going to be a certificated course, and we're partnering with UPS and some other logistics companies in the area, which is a huge portion of the Inland Empire's economic engine. And so hopefully through this course and some training, we'll be able to provide some high-paying jobs for graduates of the program. So with that, I wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gagne.
Well, good evening. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone that came this evening. I also first want to comment on the proposal for the temporary boundary changes. I don't have a position on this at this time, but I am committed to taking a deliberative approach, and so I do appreciate everyone who sent emails and attended this evening and shared their points of view. This is something that I know the district is not taking lightly, so I just want to communicate that that is the case. But I do encourage you to continue reaching out as we will obviously be making a decision about this in the near future. I also got to go to, I was invited to and attended the Levi Dickey Read Across America event. I got to read Green Eggs and Ham, which was fun, and some 4th and 5th graders indulged me in reading that since I wasn't realizing I was reading to 4th or 5th graders, but they played along and let me read it, so that was great. And I also got to go to Hidden Trails and read. So I've had a fun month full of Dr. Seuss and meeting some of the students in our district. I've continued my site visits to the various schools. I think I'm about 12 schools in. I will complete all the schools in our district by the end of the year. So just a couple things that I wanted to highlight. In the spirit of inviting conversation, I'm having a community coffee next Saturday. So if you would like to attend, please let me know. I'll stick around after the board meeting if you have any questions and you want my contact information. Just general conversation in a more informal environment. So if you are available, please do attend. I serve as the liaison to our Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I'm very excited to announce in collaboration with the Chamber, we're going to start working on some career pathways oriented programs. So I really, in wanting to serve as the liaison to the Chamber, get our local businesses to support education and different career pathways and opportunities. So I'm excited that the Chamber is also excited about that mission, and so I look forward to delivering more information about that in the near future. And finally, we are implementing, or the superintendent, I should say, is implementing a sex health prevention advisory committee. And in the spirit of being transparent and opening up this process to anyone who wants to participate in that, I did put an application online. I don't posit to know every single parent in this district or stakeholder, and so I wanted to provide an opportunity if people are interested to introduce themselves if they want to be a part of that opportunity. So thank you for attending this evening, and everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that you're always thoughtful and kind of the things you say, and I always remember the things you say. So thank you. Thank you. And as for Cal Aero, for the boundaries, I'm glad that people did show up and discuss how they felt. I live in Cal Aero for the past 13 years, and mainly because for the kids, it's a safe place, and there's truth behind that where parents are moving there because of that. And it's correct that the taxes are high, but mainly because they want their children to be safe and have a good place to go, a great school. So I'm glad that you guys showed up. I attended Literacy Day at Hidden Trails. I've been attending there for the past years. Great place. You have police officers, teachers, bankers, all sorts of people reading to children. And the person that runs it is Patricia I can't say her last name. Ogeen. So she does a terrific job. I attended the 12th annual variety show, ASL. I tell you, that is so amazing stuff. It is amazing. The heart and soul and energy, a lot of enthusiasm that these kids go through. And unfortunately, Johnny Kirby, this is her last year. But that program is so impressive. It's beyond. I mean, next year, you just have to see it. It's so, body language and music together, it is so out of this world. The annual Festive of Art showcase, that's also amazing too, with the artwork, the pieces that these kids do, it's phenomenal. So much emotion and charged up. You just can see the paintings. It just, I also, this Monday that passed, they had scholarship event. And we won this. Pat, me, and John. And it says we were the most honest team because we were the last team. But that's okay. That's okay. I was happy. The VEX robotic team, all-girl team and all-boys team earned the title 2019, and this is not the first time. They've been doing this a lot, Dr. Enfield. And they have earned that, so hopefully, and I know we're supporting them, so it's good. It's great. And the special ed, Chino High School is going to have a dance this Friday. That's good to attend. Canyon and Ayala, great job being distinguished schools. And as President ACT, I apologize, the name, I forget. It is true, the hallmark is PBIS, and PLC that's bringing the school together. So what you just said is correct, so great. And I completed my third 5K run, which was, it was raining, but it was good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Blair.
So I'm usually the one that kind of ruffles feathers, so here we go. But it'll be good. It'll be good. My son attended Dixon Elementary School. Right? Before going to Briggs. And I agree that Dixon is a very special school. I commend the parents, I commend the students most of all, for speaking up to express how you feel about Mr. B, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name either. But personnel changes are not always easy. Promotions, transfers, retirements are inevitable in any agency, including a school district as large as ours. Supporting the recommendation from the superintendent was not about convenience. It was about recognizing the talents of staff, providing them with the opportunities to grow in their careers, but most importantly, it was about the students. I want you to believe and trust that the district will focus its efforts on securing a strong replacement for Dixon. Rest assured of that. Just because my child isn't there anymore doesn't mean that I don't remember where he began. So just know that you will be thought of highly in the replacement process. But there's a domino effect. Someone promoted out of Chino Hills High School, someone needs to fill that spot. That is how it goes. You can't leave vacancies for too long. And yes, it hurts. Change isn't easy, and I get that. But just believe in the superintendent and his staff to do right by Dixon. Moving on to Calero. Someone stated tonight that no Measure G funds have been spent on Calero as of today. That is not accurate. As we speak right now, and as of today, the single point of entry security project that was approved by the board on December 13 of last year in the amount of $310,000 has begun at Calero. Work has begun at Calero with Measure G funds. And the project for the junior high school portion of Calero will begin later this year. I want to thank Dr. Enfield for preparing a frequently asked questions letter that will be sent out to Calero parents, I believe, tomorrow, so that you'll receive it on Monday. And I'm not going to take away his work, but there are some things that I need to respond to that were stated tonight, because the misinformation that is out there is creating unnecessary heartache for students, and those are the ones that matter to me. So I want to clarify. The question is, how will the temporary boundary changes affect students who are currently attending Calero? Current Calero students will remain at the school through the 8th grade. They are grandfathered into the school. So to put out there that there's a possibility that a current Calero student is going to be bused is unjust. Don't do that to your children, because that is not what is going to happen. What if Calero students have siblings? The current Calero student siblings will also be grandfathered in and attend Calero and Chino Hills High School. Finally, what is the anticipated number of current Calero students that will be affected by this temporary boundary change? None. With that, I thank you all for attending and have a good night.
Dr. Enfield.
No comments.
I have a comment. I've been serving on the school district for now, I think this is my 11th year, and only a few times that I could remember actually parents and students coming over to speak on their principal. Yeah, very few times. So thank you for showing up, and especially children here in the front and drawing pictures. I'd like to ask Dr. Enfield if there's any way. Yeah, many things happen. We said there was a rain, but then it's not raining. They said no rain, but it still rains. Other things do happen. So we might still have a few days or something. We could brainstorm and see if there's any way that we could keep Mr. B until the end of this year. Would be a good thing for the kids. Nothing can be promised. Nothing can be promised. It's a district decision, and we got 36 schools, and it's also promotion, so you don't want to stop him being promoted. But if kids are to be devastated because of his absence, and he would come out in the parking lot and greeting these children and building bonds. That's what Dr. Park did, Grace Park, and then that's why she's here. And that's what I see with Mr. B also, principal. So even though we got lots of things happening in our district, I'd like to ask Dr. Enfield, just this weekend even, just look over one more time and see what we can do, and if there's any magic to it, I'd like to see that. Not because just the parents, but the kids, you know? Yeah, in 50 years from now, what does it matter? It doesn't matter, but what we do today and tomorrow, that matters. People do not remember the facts, but how they were felt. And the kids get hurt, and that's what I do not like to see. So let's see if something could happen. Thank you, Dr. Enfield. Preserve. Yes, you know, there's a quote saying fake news, yeah, out there, yeah. Lots of things are uncertain and things like that. But it's also about the kids to preserve. The school is impacted. The parents deserve their school and school where the kids be taught safely in a collective manner. And I could tell our students from Dantlugo, mostly from Dantlugo, see if the parents would come for their kids and which school, the choices that they want to make. It's big for them. And it's big for your own parents too. You need to see that this should be your life lesson, not just your history books, and not only what your teachers are teaching, math in your classrooms, but live a real life. Life matters. Everyone's life matters, especially the young ones, even the unborn ones. They all matters. And once we said life do not matter, then we're just in a business, and everybody becomes a numbers. Now, I have heard from Lewis Corporation, Pat Loy, that he is willing to work with numbers and financial resources to help and support and build possibly another school. And I'd like to see Dr. Enfield, and I believe, are you meeting with Lewis Corporation? Good. Yeah, continue to talk and see. Both of us, whether Louis Home or our school district, we all care for the kids. That's the bottom line. The businesses sometimes go high, sometimes it goes low. Attendance rate, sometimes it goes high and sometimes it's low. But our kids, even any of one of you guys would have a kids, you like to see a good school in good neighborhood. And we need to be partaker of that, not blocking that dream. If there's a need for sooner than later, maybe we need to work on that too. But it takes collaborations. It takes hope, having a hope, and also persistence. But all that should come out from sparkling of kindness. And that's what Alex had presentation today. And it's talking about us. Yeah, we all can count numbers, and we can all count the benefits. But sparkling kindness is worth a whole lot more, I think. So thank you for coming, all of you guys, and have a blessed night. I adjourned the meeting at 9:15.